I got the diagnosis fairly recently, maybe 5, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And it was really that somebody diagnosed my mother and said, "Oh, your mother was borderline. She's been gone a long time." And I didn't really get the diagnosis directly. It was told to me, "Oh, you should go into a DBT group. That would be helpful for you." And I went into a DBT group at the place where I was getting therapy, and it was a bunch of extremely low-functioning people who were living in group homes for the most part, and were on welfare. And there was me, and it was very disconcerting to be with this group of people because I didn't identify with them, and I didn't really have anything in common with them except for, well, I had certain personality problems that I had to deal with. And I left the therapy, which was not DBT therapy, and because the therapist decided that she couldn't handle one of my feelings and said it was inappropriate to have the main feeling I was having, which was feeling lonely. And I would go in there and say, "Oh, I feel so lonely," and I would cry. And after a month, she came in and said, "I spoke to my supervisor, and you can't be like that." Pretty much, she couldn't handle it. And I sort of pulled myself together and said, "Oh, okay, I see. This therapist can't handle me," and I left that clinic. And I decided I was not going to be labeled as borderline because it's a really ugly definition. It doesn't sound very scientific. It sounds like they threw a bunch of qualities into a bucket and mixed them together, and this is what you are, and it's not. There's no way you can overcome it, and sorry, kid, that's what you have. So I decided I was going to just ignore it, dismiss it, and forget about it, which I did. I really did. I forgot completely about it until last January when my children did an intervention with me, my 2 daughters, and a friend of the family who happens to be a psychologist. And they said, "Mom, do you remember what you were diagnosed with?" And I said, "You mean depression?" "No." "You mean manic depressive?" "No." "No, I don't really know what you mean." And they said, "Borderline." And I was sort of shocked because one of my daughters had done all this research and decided I was borderline, and they weren't going to have anything to do with me unless I got into treatment.